But speaking of monsters, Kaiju number 8, Season 2, Episode 1. The episode starts as a dream/flashback with a Kaiju alarm and a young Kafka and Mina, and the Kaiju call is a 6.7, with the epicenter being in Machida, and it's heading north, and everyone is running, and young Kafka telling Mina that everything will be okay. They see the defense force roll out, and Kafka is all stoked, but then there's an explosion, and he loses Mina. And now all the defense force guys are pointing their guns at him, and he see his old cleaning crew dudes are there, and grown-up Mina is on top of a building ready to snipe him, and Kafka is in Kaiju form, and they all start opening fire. Kafka then laser beams down the helicopter, and then grows really big, and nukes the area, but then he wakes up from his dream, and he's still in the underground prison at the Defense Force HQ. So this kind of picks off from Season 1 at the end, where he kind of lost control as a Kaiju fighting Shinomiya's dad after they captured him. So I think this is kind of remnants of him having that fear that him being a Kaiju, he's going to hurt everyone around him, basically.
Yeah, he's afraid of his own gay powers, because that's what happened.
Oh, damn.
He got the gay powers, and then now he could turn into a Kaiju. This is what I'm going to equate every show to now.
And then he's like, oh no, Mina, don't show me those. Oh, those are gross. Cuts to the destroyed Defense Force training area from last season, and Mina is walking around. Then Hoshino rolls up and tells her it's been 5 days since the decision was made about Kafka. They reflect on the area and Kafka saving everyone, but then Mina says that the new recruits will be meeting up with their new squads. Cuts to Reno and Iharu, and they are rolling. But Iharu wants to stop and take some sightseeing pics in front of Matsumoto Castle. They sit and talk and wonder what's going to happen to Kafka, and that he probably can't go back to being just a regular Defense Force member. Reno remembers what Kafka said after he first turned into a Kaiju, and he said that he wonders what will happen to him now and if he can still join the Defense Force while in his Kaiju form, and Reno says that he'll come back even if it kills him.
What episode was that when he's in front of Reno and he makes that joke, which was great, by the way?
And then he peed from his nipples?
Yeah.
Probably episode 3 or 4 of season 1. But it cuts to the 4th Division Defense Force Matsumoto base, and Reno thinks that he will get stronger and he will protect Kafka. Cuts to Shinomiya sitting at the Defense Force HQ, scrolling through the group chat of the other members, and says that she'll get stronger to stop Kafka when he needs her. But then a giant of a dude walks in and addresses Shinomiya, and his name is Eiji Hasegawa, 1st Division Vice Captain. They walk towards the captain's office, and he says she'll be at the Tachikawa base with the 1st Division as it's being rebuilt. Shinomiya narrates that the 1st Division is the strongest in all of Japan, and it shows a map and looks like the strongest divisions are in the east, 2nd in the west, 3rd in the north, and weakest in the south. And she said even when she was in America, everyone knew who the 1st Division was.
Why would you concentrate all of your power in one area?
Well, they're not, technically. I mean, they have the other Defense Force divisions in the other areas.
They say later on in the episode that the average person in this division is stronger than the captains of other divisions, right?
Maybe that is where the majority of the monster attacks happen, which is why they concentrate their strength there. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Shinomiya is like, I'm going to learn everything I can from these fucks. And they get to the captain's office, Gen Narumi. He's not there. He was camping, solo camping, because his name is also Gen.
Yeah.
And he's just under a blanket playing video games.
Tent, Greg. That's where you were going with that.
Yeah, and then Shinomiya is like, I didn't bring mine. And then he sleeps in the cold.
Yeah.
But he's under his blankets playing video games, trying to get to platinum rank. Hasegawa is like, you know what? Wait here. And he goes in and picks Narumi, and he's like, oh no, my BS5, you dick. And Hasegawa is like, I told you she was coming here at 2 o'clock and to have your room clean. And he's like, yeah, I know, but it's my choice to listen to you or not. And then he kicks him again, and he's like, oh no, my 1/100 scale gun dome, you monster. So basically, Hasegawa is just breaking all of his nerd
He's just
paraphernalia.
the biggest otaku, and this is everyone's dream. This is the real one.
To be captain of the first division, but
Yeah.
also be a nerd.
Yeah, 100%.
Narumi is like, man, you're the only one that cares if my room is clean, so why don't you clean this shit? And he's like, I got you. And then he calls in all the cleaners and they just throw away all of his figurines. And he's like, man, fuck, I'll clean it. Fucking quit it. Hasegawa carries him to Shinomiya and she thinks that she has zero respect for this guy. But he's like, oh, you're Isao's daughter. I heard so much about you. And he's like, I just want one thing from you. But then the kaiju alarm goes off and he's like, well, you'll see what it is once you watch us start fighting. Cuts to 15 minutes prior to the emergency alarm. What appears to be a large kaiju is coming out of the water. Godzilla, basically, from eyewitnesses.
Literal Godzilla. It is a perfect 1-to-1 of Godzilla as long as you don't zoom in.
Then it cuts to 8 minutes prior, and MH Super Hama 225 recon helicopter takes off. 5 minutes prior to that, the Ministry of Defense in the Ichigawa ward and the Defense Force plan a mission and is approved, and a message arrives from the Defense Ministry to Ariake Maritime Base.
It's all like the shot prep of like them taking off, the tanks arriving.
Then 1st Division Captain Narumi takes off and Hasegawa leaves for Daikoku Pier and Honmoku Pier by truck. Then the JGSDF camp Yokohama receives request for surface guidance munitions fire from the Ministry of Defense. JGSDF camp Asaka receives requests for medium-range guided missiles. Then the evacuation warning is sent to the area. Then the Shuto Expressway Kanegawa Route Bay Bridge sealed. Honmoku Pier JGSDF Type 87 self-propelled machine gun Type 10 tank company deployment is complete. Then the Daikoku Pier JGSDF Type 87 self-propelled machine gun Type 10 tank company deployment is complete. Then the Daikoku Pier Defense Force mobile cannons deployment is complete. Then the Bay Bridge Type 16 mobile tanks deployment is complete.
Greg?
And then the attack commences and they are shooting at Diaclonus, aka Godzilla. So the reason why I wrote this all down is because I think this is them showing how
efficient,
how dialed in the Defense Force is. Before the monster alarm rings, all of this shit happens in 15 minutes. So they're ready to basically take care of any monsters that come in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is going to be important like later on.
I would assume to a certain extent, because we obviously saw like the 3rd Division, we just watched them attack. Like the Kaijus just came and attacked like a 3rd Division base and how unprepared they were. And this is like a mile away. And they're like, all right, we're good to go.
I think they're doing it also to show how the 1st Division reacts to threats. They deploy all these tanks and missiles and shit, but they're doing it specifically to push the monster into whatever the choke point is, which is Narumi, who's gonna like deal the final blow. So all of these pieces are in play to force the monsters to where they want to be so they can take care of them as efficiently as possible with the least amount of collateral damage. Anyway, that was probably all useless for me to write down, but I read it.
And I appreciate it, Greg. Thank you.
They force the monster northwest, but then it goes underwater and takes out the bridge, and they report the unplanned event. Narumi tells the team, Shinonome, Miyake, and Tachibana to head to Osanbashi, and for Hasegawa to remain at Daikoku Pier to delay the advancement. They attack, and Shinomiya is like, damn, they got total control over the kaiju's movements, which is basically what I just said. And what makes it possible is the specs of all the individual members, and they all are releasing over 40% of the combat power of the suits. Narumi is like, time to roll out. And he tells Shinomiya that he won't ask for manners, cleanliness, hard work, or grace from her. All he asks is one thing. And then he jumps out of the helicopter and unleashes his gun spear and lands on the kaiju and then fucking explodes it, and it showers the area in blood, and then tells her that he wants her to show him unstoppable power.
This was so fucking sick, by the way. Like, we literally last season, they were talking about how close range anything was pretty weak and really wasn't useful. This dude jumps out of a helicopter, broadsword stabs a monster in the back, and then shoots the broadsword's gun into its spine, and then he's just hanging out, standing on it. That's the hardest fucking shit in this whole episode. He is the ultimate gamer, by the way. I'm in. Favorite character.
Yeah, it was okay.
Shut up, Greg. It was dope.
They're back at base now, and Narumi is looking at the news, and he's like, man, they're making it sound like Mina killed that shit, but I killed that shit. And Shinomiya is like, man, the most powerful dude in Japan is just looking up his own name online. She's like, hey, your other phone is ringing. And he's like, man, whatever. Probably some boring ass meeting with Isao and Hasegawa, and I don't give a shit. Then Hasegawa shows up and kicks him in the skull and is like, it's your job, you fuck. And he's like, man, what's so important? And he says, it's about Kaiju number 8. Cuts to Kafka in the prison cell, and he says it's been 5 days and he hasn't been able to do anything, so he's just doing push-ups. But then some soldiers come to escort him. They take him to Isao's office, and he sees Shinomiya, but she doesn't acknowledge him. And they enter the office, and Kafka is like, oh shit, is that the 1st Division captain? What's he doing here? Isao says he's moving Kafka to the 1st Division, and that the strongest kaiju in history and the strongest anti-kaiju force in history will create the strongest division ever, and for him to prove his worth in the next mission. And if he can't do that, then there's no place for him in the defense force.
I'm curious, like, we haven't truly seen how strong Kafka is.
Last season, he fought Kaiju number 9 and number 7, was it?
Yeah, but he fought them with the defense force.
But the defense force would have been fucked without Kafka.
It's true, but also Kafka, we don't know if he would have been fucked without the defense force. It's like, you could tank a boss for 20 seconds on your own HP, but if you have a healer, you could tank a boss forever.
Yeah, I think Kafka hasn't reached his full potential yet, and I think Isao knows that he hasn't.
Yeah.
So that's why he's doing this, I assume.
Yeah. It was just like, that was alarming to me that they were like, he is obviously the strongest in history, 100%. And it's like, oh, damn, okay.
When they were measuring his power as he was fighting as Kaiju number 8, they were saying this is the strongest Kaiju we've recorded, was Kaiju number 8. I think that's where it's coming from.
And then also, I mean, Shinomiya's dad, him fighting with the explanation of the Kaiju suit and the weapons that he has, showing Kafka's strength, also that being a factor as well. But I want to know where he ranks in comparison to all this, because he's obviously commanding the army.
Oh, yeah, just wait till next episode.
Okay, cool.
Kafka thinks he doesn't like being needed as Kaiju number 8 and not himself, but he's like, I gotta survive first. And he's like, you got it, boss. But Narumi says he refuses. The only thing we need to be the strongest in the division is me. And then he goes to leave. Isao is like, not so fast. Kaiju number 9 was capable of disguising itself as a human. And number 10 deliberately attacked a defense force installation, and they're clearly different from other kaiju. And they overcame disasters by getting better every day. But the kaiju are evolving in ways they don't understand. And if we arrogantly assume you can handle everything, they'll change the rules on us and a disaster will result. And we have to evolve as well. Narumi is like, man, you never trust me. And the best use of Kaiju number 8 is to make him into a weapon that I can wield. Isao is like, nah, but then Kafka interrupts and says he can't die yet for the sake of his comrades who believe in him. And there's something he still needs to do. And it flashes back to young Kafka and Mina. Narumi is like, man, I don't fucking care. All I want is strength and results. And if you lose control, I'll kill you and use you as part of my suit. Cuts to Hoshino and Mina, and he's reporting that all the recruits have arrived at their new divisions, including Kafka. Shinomiya is packing up, and she's leaving her mansion, but she sees a picture of what I assume was her mom or something, but it is blocked by the sunlight. Isao goes down to the research facility, and the science dudes lead him to something, and you can see a pair of legs in the foreground of something or someone in a tube. After credits roll, there's another earthquake and buildings are collapsing, and now there's a giant sinkhole in the middle of the city.
I love Kaiju number 8. It's just so, like, I'm having a good time again. I remember why we watch anime. It's not to watch Go-Go Lose a Ranger, that's for sure. And this is it. I'm having a good time.
Good start to the season. I'll say that.
Yeah. I know you've watched a lot more Kaiju, and I don't know what ends up happening, obviously, but I'm excited. And it seems like it's going to be fun.
There's a couple, I guess, like production choices that I don't like. And maybe kind of the direction of Kaiju as a whole, I don't feel like is as strong as season 1. Obviously, this season is still going. We don't know how it ends or necessarily how it fully develops. But that's just my preliminary feeling on Kaiju season 2.
Greg, you can piss all over my fucking parade all you want. I'm still going to have a good time.
I don't think Narumi's that cool. I don't think his weapon's that cool either.
I think it's sick as fuck, Greg. But I also think Squall was the best character, and he had a gun blade.
He didn't have like a gun spear, though.
Yeah, but that was so sick, dude. He jumped out of a helicopter, and he was like,
yeah, I guess.
"Hey, y'all!" And then he stabbed him in the spine, and then he revved that thing like a motorcycle, and it exploded in that thing's butt. And then he literally...
Are we watching Hikaru, or what's going on?
The Godzilla just went pew, and exploded outward. That had to be like billions of dollars in damages. Like, you could have killed the kaiju near the bridge and maybe not, and like fed the wildlife instead of fucking blowing up half of the city.
I kind of like Mina's entrance during season 1 a little bit better than Narumi, but
I think I forgot her entrance.
Well, she was in a helicopter and she basically Ghost in the Shell braced as she like shot her giant ass sniper rifle and blew that kaiju.
Yeah, I do remember